Linda Roland gives a absolutely amazing presentation. It was probably the highlight of the Brisbane Cardano Summit. That's what everyone says, and I totally agree with that. She goes over the full 101 of Cardano NFTs, C NFTs, going through the minting process, how to sell them, and her own experience in launching a large Cardano drop. And it's the Entheos project. They've gone through 3 major drops now, 10,000 NFTs every single drop, so it's doing pretty well, and she has a lot of experience behind it selling these NFTs. So if you were ever interested in creating and selling NFTs, this is the presentation for you. So let's get straight into it.
Yeah, gotta do it like that. You've been listening to the Learn Cardano podcast.
So Linda, awesome. Take it away.
Thank you so much. Well, hi everyone. As you already mentioned, I'm going to talk about NFTs today, and as I've heard before, a lot of you already know a lot about Cardano, but this is more for the beginners in the space. So please don't be too bored if you already know everything about NFTs. Before we dive into it, I would like to just tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a production engineer, so I don't really have that IT background. And I'm an NFT artist, and I also have my own stake pool, which is the Marlin pool. And our mission is to connect the unconnected in West Papua, Indonesia, by providing satellite connection, internet connection to the remote mountain tribes. Now, how did I get into all of this crypto? I actually got into it at the start of this year, and I actually started out by selling my art on Ethereum, which I didn't really like a lot, so I pretty quickly hopped onto Cardano. And yeah, that's about me, so let's get into it. So as for the agenda for this presentation, it's going to be roughly 30 minutes with another 15 minutes of Q&A where you can ask me questions. And the first part of this presentation is just where I'm going to tell you exactly what NFTs are, what are FTs, what can we use them for, why do we have them, and why are they around. And then I'll tell you how to become an NFT artist and how to be successful as an NFT artist. And at the end, I just want to show you a real-life example of an NFT project that I am working on at the moment, which is Entheos AI. Now, what are NFTs? NFT stands for non-fungible token. And when I was new in the space, I thought, what the heck does that even mean? Fungible. So an easy way is basically fungible means it's replaceable or exchangeable. And I really do like real-life examples. So let's take the Mona Lisa, which is an entirely unique painting, which means we can't exchange it, we can't replace it, and so are NFTs. They're completely unique. On the other hand, we have FTs, which are fungible token, and they are replaceable or exchangeable. So let's say you found this amazing Nike t-shirt on the internet that you really, really want to get. So you go and you order one, and you don't really care which one you're going to get from the stock because they're all completely identical. And this is the same for FTs. They are completely identical. Now, why do we have NFTs? What are NFTs and why are they there? So NFTs are basically tokens that live on the blockchain, and NFTs are always there when we need to represent ownership of unique items. And so NFTs, they can be anything. NFTs were not solely made to be artworks. They can be documentation about property that you own, about your school leaving certificate. They can be concert ticket, but they can also be in-game items. So they can be a huge variety of things. So basically they can be anything that is unique, that is limited, and that needs proof of ownership. Now, how are we even able to mint NFTs on Cardano? And thankfully, with the Merry Hard Fork in March, they launched the native tokens on Cardano. And as the name already says, those native tokens are native to the Cardano blockchain, which means they are standardized. And I would just like to make the comparison to Ethereum here, which helps it a little bit to understand. On Ethereum, they do not have native token on Ethereum, which means if you want to mint an artwork on Ethereum, you actually always have to write a smart contract. And with the smart contract, there comes the high gas fees on Ethereum that nobody likes. Cardano was a little bit smarter with this. Cardano actually launched the native tokens, which means we do not need smart contracts on Cardano to mint NFTs, and therefore we don't have any of the high gas fees on Cardano. And another advantage that we have is that the tokens on Cardano, they actually have the full benefits of the Cardano blockchain, which means they come with everything that the blockchain comes as well, which means the security, the safety, and everything else. Now, before I get into the whole NFT story, I would just like to put a disclaimer here to not use any of the exchange wallets like the Binance or the Coinbase ones, because they do not support the native tokens on Cardano, which means if you're sending NFTs or receiving NFTs, they're just going to be lost forever. So what I can recommend is these wallets that I put down here. They're pretty good. There's the ADAOZ wallet, which was created by Cardano itself. There's the Yoroi wallet, which was created by Emergo. But there's also other wallets like the ADAOZ, the Nami, and the CC wallet, which is created by the Cardano community. I personally use the ADAOZ wallet. It's a bit slow, but I'm a person of habit, so I started out with that wallet and I still use it. Now, how do you become an NFT artist and how are you going to be successful as an NFT artist? It's really just a 3-step process, right? So first of all, you have to mint your artwork, and then you have to market your artwork, and then you have to sell your artwork. So that's really all it is about. And so this is a little slide that I really want to talk about, and this is something that I always tell people. When people ask me, well, Linda, what do you actually do for a living? I always say my main stream of income is I sell my art as NFTs, right? And then people ask me, oh, what are NFTs? What is this whole thing about? And then I usually tell them about cryptocurrencies and what NFTs are. And then I usually tell them, hey, if you're interested in this, you can be an NFT artist as well. And then, you know, people are always worried and they say, well, but I'm not an artist. I'm not good at art. And I always say, well, you don't have to be, you know, a great artist. You don't have to be the next Bob Ross. You don't have to be all of these things. And this is why I just wanted to put this slide in there to just show the variety that we actually have on Cardano. We have, for example, the Claymates in the top left, which actually started just as a stop motion video NFT. And then we have 8-bit art, but we also have just photography on Cardano. So anybody can be an NFT artist. And if you really can't create art, I'm pretty sure you know somebody that knows somebody who is an artist who can help you out with this. And I know so many people who are working together with artists to sell NFTs. Now, the minting process. It's a 4-step process, which is not too hard actually on Cardano. If you are a traditional artist like I am, you first of all have to digitize your artwork. And my advice is, please do not save any money on this project because you want to have your artwork in the best possible quality that you can have. And then the second step is pin your artwork on IPFS, and I'll get into that shortly. And then the third step is to actually mint your art. You can do that yourself. And if you are like me and you don't have an IT background, there's so many websites that actually do the job for you. And the last step is to get the policy verification to prevent fakes of your art. Now, why do we actually have to mint our art on IPFS? IPFS is a decentralized file storage, and we do have to pin our art on it because our art is usually not on the blockchain because it is simply too big to be stored on the blockchain. So for people to be able to view the art that you're selling and to just generally view NFTs, you have to store them on IPFS. And how do you store that on IPFS? I like to use Pinata, which is just a website. You go on there and it's pretty easy. It's no rocket science. You just basically follow the instructions on how to pin your art, and that's what you do, and that's the whole process. Now, minting platforms. How do we mint our artworks? As I said, if you're like me and you don't know how to do it, there's so many great websites that do help you and that do the job for you. So for example, there's nftmaker.io, there's also metromermaids.com, There's token.io. And if you don't like any of these, you can always work together with somebody who knows how to do it. And this is also what I did. I worked together with Vlad from Earnest Pool, who actually minted all of my artworks, and he's absolutely great. And he's also minted all the Claymate NFTs. Now, I just put the website in here, which is from Mermaida, which is Metro Mermaids. And if you go onto the website and you actually scroll all the way down, there is a YouTube video pinned to the website. And just watch it. Everything is completely explained there onto how to mint the NFTs, what information to put in there. And it also tells you how to pin your NFTs onto IPFS using Pinata. Now, policy ID and verification. So the policy ID for your NFTs, they are unique, and they are used to prevent fakes. Now, how do we actually do the verification? You can verify your NFTs on cnft.io's GitHub page, and it's a bit of a longer process, which is a bit too much to explain right now, but if you go onto their website and then you just click on the policy ID in the top on their website, and then you just scroll all the way down, everything is explained there on how you actually verify your policy IDs, which is, again, everything is explained, there's instructions for it, so it's not super, super hard to do that. As for selling your NFTs, there's quite a few CNFT marketplaces. There's cnft.io, which is the biggest one, but there's also XNFT that we've just heard about before, which is going to be absolutely amazing, and I 100% support these guys, which they already said is going to support Cardano, but it's also supporting Ergo, and so don't forget about them and please keep them on your radar. And if you, for whatever reason, don't like any of those websites, you can always join Discord servers that do sell NFTs, or you can simply just create your own Discord server, and this is basically what I did. Now, as for the NFT marketplaces, I've just put a screenshot in here of cnft.io just for you guys to see how your artwork is listed there. And again, to list your artwork there is not super hard. Just, again, follow the instructions and you get there. Now, how do you market your NFTs, which is the biggest part of all of it? If you are new to the space and you don't already have a big following on Twitter, for example, it's always a good idea to start out by doing giveaways. Just do giveaways, get people to notice your project. And another thing that this gives you, which is not necessarily important, but it does give you more followers. So if people they pay attention to your project and they see, oh, this person has a big following, that project already has a big following, so it must be something good. Again, this is not completely necessary, because I remember back when the Claymates, they only had roughly 500 followers and they still sold out. So this is not necessary, but it does help a lot, and it's a little bit of a booster. Now, the other thing is that you need to create interesting content. It is so important to just, create content that people are interested in. Really invest into it and really put your time into this. And the biggest part about marketing is engage with the community. And this is going to take hours and hours and hours and hours of work, but it is worth it eventually. And the last bit of advice that I can give you is, if you are new, go onto all the Twitter spaces and talk about your project. Talk about it as much as you can. So, for example, Cardano Over Coffee is a very good Twitter space that you can join where you can talk about your projects. Now, as for NFT, so there's basically just two types of drops that you can have. You can have the big drops and you can have the small drops. And I would just like to talk a little bit about those. So, big drops are basically, as the name already says, they're high in volume, which means you have to have over 1,000 NFTs for big drops. Otherwise, it's just not worth it, and people are just not going to be as interested in the NFTs as they should be. So definitely keep in mind that you do over 1,000 NFTs. And the second part is, before you actually launch your NFT, make sure you have a rarity chart ready, because that's the first thing that everybody's going to scream for. Everybody's screaming for, hey, what is the rarest piece? I want the rarest piece. What is the rarest piece? Now, and the last bit is, and this is quite important and probably the most important out of all of it, is the distribution. Just do it right. You can either do it yourself, or you do it with services like NFTmaker.io. And because the distribution itself is probably the most vital part about all of this, I would just like to get a little bit more into it and just tell you what you have to focus on and what is important. So first of all, make sure that your website can handle high volumes of traffic, because you've done the marketing, everybody is super hyped about your project, and everybody is going to come to your website. So just make sure your website can handle it. The second bit is make sure that you have protection against bots on your website. And the last thing is really a recommendation is do not go cheap on this part. Really invest your money and time into getting your website ready for really big drops and high volumes of people getting on it. Now, small drops, they are, compared to big drops, very, very easy. They're small volumes. They usually should be smaller than 100, and also they are higher priced, obviously. And they should be unique artworks that do tell a story. And also the distribution is usually manually, so it's not such a big deal for small drops. And I would just like to put both of them next to each other just to have a bit of a better comparison. For big drops, to actually sell out, you need to build a lot of hype, and you have to do a lot of marketing, and you have to put a lot of time into it. Whereas for smaller drops, it's more about personal networking. It's more about telling your personal story, who you are, where you're from, why is your artwork so special, why should people pay so much money for it. And now the next thing is, for big drops, it's very technical, it's very risky. You have to invest so much time and so much money building a website and getting them out there and getting them ready and minting them. Whereas for smaller drops, you don't really have that risk. You might have 10 amazing artworks that you would like to sell, and you either sell out or you don't, but you don't really lose money by doing it. And yeah, as I said, big drops, you can earn a lot of money with big drops, but they also come at a risk. Just be aware of that. Now, after the fact, which is so important as well, because there has been NFT projects and they have sold out and then they've completely shut down and they didn't want to know anything about anything anymore. And just what I think you should definitely just stick around. Keep engaging with the community, keep engaging with the people who have bought your artworks, and support the secondary market, because if you stick around, that market is going to be there and your NFTs will keep their value, because most people in the space, they actually buy NFTs to trade them and to sell them again. So this is so important that you actually do stick around and that you actually do support and keep supporting your project. And then once you're done with everything, you basically lean back, count your money, or you just start a new NFT project. Now that we've talked about all of this and how to do it, as I said, I really like real-life examples. I would like to talk about a big NFT project that I have been working on, which is Entheos AI. You might have heard about it. So that's basically, we have created 30,000 unique AI-generated NFTs, and we are a team of 4. So we have one who just specifically works on the website. We have another one who just works on the distribution of the NFTs, which is such a big thing. And then the main guy who's the brain behind all of this, who creates these amazing images. And then there's me, who's doing the marketing and the engaging with the community. And the whole preparation for this project actually took 4 months until we were at the point of actually selling them. So it was quite a long time. And with how we did it and with how much time we put into it and the distribution and everything, it was a success. We didn't have any problems with the distribution, just minor little things, but it went absolutely smoothly. Now, I'd just like to show you a video which is also about the marketing side of things, and just as an example that you see what it is about and how to do marketing and how to make those videos and just about the project in general. So this is going to be, I think, a 3-minute video. So enjoy.
Hi, I'm Linda from Mali, and I've teamed up with Will from Entheos AI for this incredible NFT project on the Cardano network. And I thought, let's dive into it and see what's behind these amazing pieces of art. The architecture of this algorithm is built with 2 separate AI networks that work together to generate this incredible psychedelic art. One AI model is called or Generative Adversarial Network, which produces the seed images or canvas that the second network uses to hallucinate on to create the beautiful pictures. The second network is basically an image classification model that has been altered to instead make classifications perform a sort of iterative algorithmic pareidolia. Pareidolia is a form of epiphania, similar to what the human mind does when our brains fill in missing information to create images and forms nebulous stimuli that aren't really there. The network is essentially asked to do the same thing humans do when we look for structures in clouds. Except the network is looking at the canvas image instead of a cloud, and whatever it sees, we ask it to enhance those features just a tiny amount each time over a series of images. We can control the acid trip that we send the computer on by activating certain feature detectors. This, in turn, will bring out the aspects that we have found to make an interesting and awe-inspiring image. Through this, we have created the categories that you have already seen with our previous drops, and the new categories that you will see in the future. So, what does all of this mean in a non-tech way? We created a model capable of making amazing images. We then sent it on an acid trip and got it to draw what it sees. From the resulting images, we get the viewer to look at it in the same way they would while cloud watching. Essentially, modern cloud watching. Thank you for listening. We have an incredible, vibrant community that has fallen in love with the art these machines produce. The passion within this group inspires us to continue to make an exciting, conversation-inspiring, thought-provoking, and interactive experience for all. We hope that you love these images as much as we do.
Yes, it's on my YouTube channel if you want to watch it again.
Yeah, I would love to.
The sound cut a bit out, so. Yeah, well, that was our project that we worked on, and I think it was so successful because it was something new. And I feel like if you really want to create NFTs on Cardano, just, make sure you create something new that hasn't been there before, and I think you will be successful by doing that. Well, that's my presentation. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
So one of the things that's really interesting about NFTs for artists, right, is that with a smart contract, for example, you can have a residual income every time a piece changes hands, right?
No, you can't. At the moment, you can't. Probably later on, once that smart contract is written, yes, but at the moment...
You mean in Cardano you can't yet?
No, you can't in Cardano.
Okay. That was my question, okay. But yeah, so does Cardano actually provide the ability to do that once the smart contracts come into play?
Once the smart contracts are in, yes, but not yet.
Cool.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. So, in terms of the trust or the relationship you have with your community? I don't know how to ask this question, but say you've printed 10 NFTs of a particular collection, you could print the same image, like more NFTs of the same image. Is there like a kind of sense of there's trust between you and your community that you're not sort of going to dilute the things that you've already created? Again, like what are those aspects, the trust aspects with your community?
Well, I think nobody's gonna, you just lose your reputation. And I think if you're in the community, I mean, you obviously can do it. If you're just going to be that kind of person and you do a 30,000 drop and then you keep minting them, but at the end of the day, nobody's going to buy it. And your previous artworks will just lose their value and nobody's going to buy the new ones.
Question. So at the moment we've got in the art world and the creative space, we've got NFTs. Where do you think NFTs will go from here? Like, where do you think the innovation is going to go?
Well, what I definitely think is the future, that as I think there's going to be a lot different things. I think we're going to go a lot into music as well, and I feel like we're going to have a lot more use case with NFTs, that they're actually going to be used for basically what they're meant for, to just have some documentation, have that. But I also feel like maybe we can go into kind of instructions where people who know how to do something just sell their knowledge as well as NFTs. So I feel that's maybe could be the future.
I just, sorry. Hey, Levi, I just wanted to comment on your question. And hey, Linda, I've spoken with you online a few times, but I'll catch up with you later. For the trust, the policy ID is essentially the signature of the NFT, and it's you can have 3 different types of policy IDs and how they're set up. So you want it to lock at a particular time, right? You can set it to lock, and after it has locked, even if you as the original creator decided to mint more and, let's say, throw them on another secondary marketplace without your community's knowledge, again, you're destroying your own reputation, but they're now not officially original anymore because you'd already locked the policy ID and your signature has now been used and verified on secondary marketplaces, and the new one wouldn't be.
Okay, so my question is kind of related to that, right? Like, I mean, realistically speaking, when you're talking about digital works of art that is infinitely replicable, right? What is the point of even having the ownership? Like, I mean, who cares?
Well, I mean, that's just the point of NFTs, right? I think that's also, as he just said, with the policy, and also I think it's a lot about your reputation that you just don't want to lose. I mean, that's just the thing that you have now. That's the whole point of NFTs, that they are not replaceable and you can't duplicate them.
Yeah, so I mean, as an artist, I understand, right? As an investor, I understand, because there will be someone who will be willing to pay for the original work of art, right? But from a utilitarian perspective, like for me to, like essentially the idea is that like in traditional art world, right? Yeah. You can buy a piece of art, put it in your private viewing room, and you will be able to enjoy it ever, right?
Yeah.
So in a replicatable digital world, right? Let's say, so anyone can infinitely copy something, modify it in slightly different ways, change hashes, whatever, right? So my point is that, are we creating a unique ecosystem where you can own something, but the whole world can also enjoy it? Like, is that really the ethos behind it?
Yes.
Great. Sounds awesome.
I got some questions from YouTube as well, not to leave these guys out. Interesting one. How many artworks have you sold, and what is your net yearly profit?
By the way,
probably a little bit personal.
Oh, jeez. Oh. Yeah.
There was a comment.
I don't even know. Sorry, I wasn't prepared for that question at all.
It's a little personal. You don't have to answer it.
No, yeah, I don't know. I'm so sorry.
All right, skipping that. Moving on. Another one from YouTube. How do you handle the file storage requirements for large volumes of high-res artworks?
What? Sorry, can you just repeat that?
Okay, how do you handle the file storage requirements for large volumes of high-resolution artworks?
You mean like on my computer or?
Well, probably both. Well, everything's stored in IPFS.
Well, I mean, as for my artworks that I did for myself specifically, they're not that big, and I really didn't sell a lot of them. I have a few art pieces that are originals, and so I don't have any problem with that. And as for IPFS, well, I'm not really it's a decentralized place, so basically there's a lot of nodes that hold the artwork.
So for those that don't know, IPFS is like a distributed file storage network.
Yeah.
So all the art pieces like these ones here are stored on there, so no one's actually storing it locally on any servers or cloud servers. It's distributed across the network. It's a decentralized network. And you get paid for storing stuff. So yeah.
One more question.
Yes.
Microphone.
So this is more of a selfish question and kind of like a personal question to you directly, right? So my daughter is like heavily into art and a lot of her friends are.
Yeah.
Are you interested in doing something for the youth to get them exposed to this way of basically sharing their art with the world?
Yeah, definitely. I support a lot of projects and a lot of artworks and a lot of people, and if I do believe that, you know, there is some talent there, I definitely do it, yes.
Cool.
No question.
I have a question. With the product of Entheos and the images that they create, that the fact that you've used artificial intelligence to produce these images, have you considered potentially using artificial intelligence to interpret it in more like an audio manner, like a musical manner? Is there a potential to bridge it out to a different sensory environment?
Well, maybe there is. As I said, I'm a production engineer. I don't have that IT background. I don't exactly know what is possible and what is not possible, so I'm the wrong person to ask about that.
Probably yes.
All right, here's another question from YouTube. Will there be an animated version in the future for Entheos?
That would be absolutely amazing, and so many people have asked that question. And yeah, we haven't really spoken about this in detail yet because we still have another drop to go, but I think we'll probably talk about that in the future.
It'd be absolutely amazing to see those things.
Yeah, definitely.
You wouldn't look away. You'd be like hypnotized. All right. I've got some more here from YouTube. What would you say was the hardest part of starting off with the Entheos AI project?
Well, it actually wasn't really hard, to be honest with you, because the first time that I saw this project, which was roughly 4 months ago, I completely fell in love with it. And back then, those images didn't look like they do now, but they were already really, really amazing. And I feel like this is an amazing NFT, and it's an amazing project, especially the AI side of things. And I feel like it wasn't really hard to market it because people just saw it, and like me, they fell in love with it.
What was the cost in like developing?
Microphone.
What was the cost involved in developing the ML side of things, like in terms of training data sets and the compute you had to put into it?
Yeah, so just one drop, which was 10,000 NFTs, was a couple of $1,000s to create those images, just to run the computers and everything.
Yep.
Any more questions?
We had that same question on YouTube as well. So, where are we?
Okay.
So, yep, one here, sorry. Cass here from X NFT. We are talking about the ability to wrap NFTs, so only the owner can view it.
Yes, that is definitely possible.
That's an interesting one. So only the viewer can see it, no one else can.
Well, it's like an OnlyFans, isn't it?
I wouldn't know.
Well, maybe that's the future of NFTs. I don't know.
You said that you initially started on the Ethereum network.
Yeah.
And I guess I just wanted to know what the key considerations were when you transferred over to Cardano, besides gas fees and
Yeah.
like, the native tokens.
Yeah.
Considering that like you're sacrificing the smart contract capability, was it a low competition? Was it like a marketing positioning type of arrangement? Is that
Yeah.
kind of to that?
I feel like when I got into it, the market at Ethereum was pretty saturated already, and it was really, really hard to get out there and get your artwork seen because there was already so much out there. And I got into Cardano right at the start when they launched a native token, so there weren't many people there, and it was pretty successful right from the start. So I was like, forget about Ethereum, Cardano is the thing.
I've got a question. When smart contracts do roll out and allow for royalties on drops and pieces being sold on secondary markets, do you see it costing? Would you still charge for the initial drop, or would you drop it, the initial drop price to like 0 and rely on royalties? So I'm looking at the business model here for NFT drops in the future. Have you explored it? Have you thought about it?
I have honestly never thought about it. I mean, that is an option, but I think everybody can decide for themselves, really.
Project by project. Okay, more from YouTube. Which one of your artworks are you the most proud of?
Which one? What was the one called Beauty and... what was the one called?
They're your artworks.
Yeah, exactly. That one. That one is the one that I'm most proud of because it was really like kind of the first portrait that I ever drew that was kind of a bit more professional. So I'm really proud of that one.
Which one?
And obviously the Charles drawing. I already forgot about that one. Definitely the Charles drawing as well. I'm proud of that one.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, she drew a picture of Charles looking quite dashing.
Yeah.
Where can we see this?
Where is it?
Discord server.
Is it on there? Is it like pinned on there?
Yeah, it's in the sold.
You can actually go on YouTube and then you just go Charles Hoskinson fan mail and then crypto fly and then you can watch the whole video of him shouting it out.
More from YouTube, you ready?
No, yeah.
How long does it take the network to create one image? So technical one, you go mint an image, how long does it take?
6.
It doesn't specify. Can you specify? They're not writing back yet. Yeah, both. So how long does it take to...
For the Entheos, so basically we've upgraded to 4K now, which takes a lot longer. I actually forgot how long it actually takes. 6 minutes, exactly. 6 minutes with the 4K images. 7.
And what kind of compute do you have behind that to have that number?
Don't know. We're not involved in that.
No. Yes.
Do you know who your audience is? Like the people that are buying it, how old they are, or how they look like?
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
Normally with traditional art, you see the buyer coming in, and yeah, how do you?
Yeah, no, especially for my traditional art, which is very small drops, I definitely do know the buyers who are buying my NFTs.
Do you know what age group they are, or which country are they? Australia?
That is so hard to say. Well, I don't know. That's just...
If you're buying from the mint, you can't identify that.
It's been interesting looking at some of the buyers. They've been of all ages.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of our buyers have been from all around the world. A lot from Europe, a lot from America. They've been from all age groups as well. And I think that's one great thing with cryptocurrency is that it's been introducing a lot of young people to art because they've made a lot of money through crypto by buying it when it was 2 cents. So for them to be able to buy art now, it's very, very easy. So it's been interesting
Sure, just one other question. You mentioned how you know, a lot of people buy to trade. Can you see like how much your art has been traded or?
You can't specifically see it or follow it. I mean, you can see it if it's being traded on cnft.io. Yes, you can, but I mean, you kind of know about it. You can see, this was sold on Discord or this was sold there. But it's not like you get a notification somewhere that it's being resold. You don't get that.
Got more on YouTube.
Oh,
What's a common mistake you see being made minting NFTs that folks need to be educated on?
As for minting NFTs, well, I mean, as for now, I don't think there's any mistakes that are being made for the minting process because we have so many great websites that do the job for you. So as for the minting process itself, right now with what we have, there's not really any mistakes that are being made. Or not anything that's really, bad.
Yeah, I just from the actual drops itself, I think that's where people are making mistakes.
Yeah.
Like load, bots, whatnot. More questions from the audience?
What do you do against bots?
That's a website question that I can't answer.
Bots? Yep.
I don't know. I'm not. So basically, I know how to do small drops and I know how to market everything. But when it comes to building the website, that's just not that outside of my scope. I don't know how that works.
More questions from YouTube. Who are your competitors in the AI art space?
Well, that's such a mean question. As for the AI art, there's not really any proper AI art out there that would be our competitor.
Question at that.
That sounds like a challenge.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I just got a question. Yeah, I just wanted you to touch a bit more. It's probably unrelated to NFTs, but I just wanted you to touch a bit more on your stake pool and the mission behind your stake pool.
So basically, the mission behind my stake pool, as I said, is connect the unconnected in West Papua, Indonesia, by providing satellite internet. And I have spent quite a bit of time in Papua because my husband was working there as a bush pilot, so that's the connection there. And there are so many villages up in the mountains that are completely remote and they don't have any access to internet. And so basically, there's so many problems that are going on there at the moment as well. And so, yeah, we really want to help out and, connect the people. And it's also about educating the kids. And because their only form of communication right now is HF radio. And so we really want to provide internet connection for education, for medical purposes and all of that kind of stuff.
Follow-up question, does anyone know if Cardano ecosystem has a low resource consumption wallet, like basically Bitcoin Cash has, which is popular, and like people use it on like inexpensive phones in West Africa and things like that? Because essentially, like in communities like what she's talking about, like access to the financial system is something that people are lacking in a big way.
So the question was a low resource wallet that
low
works.
Resource wallet, yeah, that people can run on cheap phones, basically.
Yep.
They're all
Light wallets. Yep. So, Ada Light and Yoroi are your options. Yep. Still need a smartphone. Yep. Something that can run the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store to download it. So it's you need a phone at that level at least.
Right.
Any more questions from YouTube? This is now your chance. Otherwise, they're supposed to set up our next break at 2:30, but I don't see it yet. Yep, we are ahead of schedule. Okay, thank you very much, Linda.
Thank you.
Hopefully you found this interview useful. I'm pretty sure you would have found this interview useful. Check out Linda's stake pool as well, Malu pool. Hopefully I said that right. I always pronounce these things incorrectly and people correct me all the time. That's okay. That's why you're there. You're there to fix my mistakes. So thank you very much. Links down below so you can check her out and check out her Twitter profile, check out her pool, and to everything Linda Roland. It's all there. Now, if you like this content, please consider giving us that thumbs up, click the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. And we're producing more and more really cool content real soon. All right.
Yeah, gotta do it like that. You've been listening to the Learn Cardano podcast. Gotta get it hype. Crypto is what we like, but this is not investment or financial advice. Gotta do your research, cause it's risky. We know it is. This show is educational and it's informative. Crypto's the future, really, it ain't no debate.